Making a genogram. At the beginning of each learning group, we dive into exploring our family system. It helps a lot to have facts when we start doing the constellation work. How do you make a genogram? Our genogram is not the same as a medical genogram. We are looking for facts in your family system. So, if you are a female, you begin with yourself and you are a circle. Oh, it's not quite a circle, but imagine it is a circle. The genogram begins always with the person who makes it. We will send you a list of symbols, a list of what to do with the genogram, how to make it. You will also receive some suggestions for digital ways to do a genogram. So you can dive into this as deeply as you want. I'm showing you just a very simple version right now so you know what a genogram is. So if this is you, and we start with you, generally the person whose genogram it is gets a double circle, or in case it's a male, it's a double square. Then there are also all kinds of symbols. You will see what we send out for transgender people, for gay, for lesbian, there are all kinds of symbols. For simplicity's sake, I'm doing circles for female and squares for males right now. So if this is you, let's just say you're married, and this is you, then we begin exploring your genogram by asking you if you have siblings. We are doing a genogram for your family of origin right now. And you may say, yes, I have a brother who's older than me, and his name is Harry. So here we begin. These are the two siblings. From there we go up looking at your family system, and always there's a mother and there is a father. No matter what, it doesn't mean you know them. That's a whole other question. It doesn't mean they're married, it doesn't mean they're loving each other, it just means every child comes from a parental set. So that's where we begin. So let's say mom is Joan, and dad is Paul. You start with that. Relationships get indicated with many symbols. Please don't get confused by the 50 symbols you're going to get in your handouts. You can use them or you can keep it very simple. This just means they're together. This means they're divorced. So there's another symbol that says they're reconciled. So there are many ways to indicate what is going on in a relationship. For example, if you will tell me, I always hated my mother, I would make this kind of a symbol in there to catch that information. So from here, we want to know facts. We always are asking for facts. There's a whole list in your handout of questions we ask, because those are things that really impact the orders of love. That's why we're asking those questions. And we'll go to that in a little bit. Right now we're just going to ask, okay, did your mother have siblings? Oh yes, she had a younger brother. She was the oldest. She had a younger brother called Rick. And she had a little sister, let's just call her Ellen. So now we know that. And they have parents, and here we are in the next generation up, right? It's good as you introduce your genogram, which we will do in the group. We're going to learn a little bit more about all these people. And of course, the same happens on this side. Let's just say the father, for simplicity's sake, right now, he was a single child. He had mom and dad. And so there's 3 generations that we start with. What we're looking for in this lineup are interruptions in the order of love, and what happened in these family systems, what events. So as you start exploring where you come from, for example, if this grandpa, let's just say, he came from Ireland during the potato famine, right? So that's a piece of information already in your family system. Why did he leave? What happened to his family in Ireland? That might already be something that is of interest in the family lineage. Or you may find out that Ellen died when she was 2 years old. That may have impact in the family system. Or you may learn that grandma up here committed suicide. These are all places where you start finding impact in the family system that will impact the next generations. In other words, we're looking for flavors that are coming down to you from either side of your family tree, the mother's line or the father's line. And they are not all negative, by no means. There are a lot of positive impact. You may find that what comes from this lineage is a tremendous amount of strength in we're going to make it through, resilience. Or you may find that from over here, yes, there was a suicide, but there was an enormous talent that is an artistic talent, that is a sensitivity that is passed out through the generations also. So our listening is not so much for the dates or illnesses, like, for example, in the medical system of genograms, even though you may find, oh, asthma came from here, went to here, and went to here. So that would be a physical symptom. But we're also looking for events that may have thrown some rocks into that river of love. So here's what we want you to do. Hang on. Okay. You fill this out and you ask the questions that are on the questionnaire. Some of them are simple, like, did anyone die young? You may find out that there was an abortion or a stillborn child. That's very important information, because losing a child is very painful for a mother. And it is likely that if she lost a child right before she had you, there's a lot of grief in the system, and I'm not sure how much she was available. Or all that love for the lost child ended up with you, and you're entangled with the lost child. So there are a lot of questions that go through how to create a genogram that have a good reason why we ask them. We look for those secrets, the things that nobody speaks about. And what we do once we created the genogram is we come with our colors. You will see the list of questions and the colors we use, and then you can go into that in more depth. For example, we have red for physical or sexual abuse in family systems. If that is present and you know of it, you simply circle it wherever you see it. You make a little connection here that, yes, that is present in the system and it's moving forward. Or blue, mental illness, and that, for example, suicide would be considered part of that. Is there mental illness in your family system? And that could be anything that has been diagnosed as mental illness. So it may just be here and not go any further. Or it may show up in Harry's children down here all of a sudden again. So we're looking for places where mental illness is part of your family system. And then we have green for addiction patterns. So let's just say he likes to drink, and it went down to Rick, and from there to his son, right? So we're tracing patterns that are in a system to where they travel to, because patterns that travel mean there is an unresolved event at the bottom of that pattern and we're trying to find it and help you resolve it. And this can be difficult because most of us don't like to share that kind of information about our family systems. And yet, most of us have those things in the family systems. There could be violent patterns. So we're looking for the rocks in the flow of love. And then we use gold and silver for the gifts and the talents in our family systems, just to balance, because they're always both available. Up here we were with Ireland. This is immigration issues. They can be very profound because now you have a certain influence coming into your family system. And if you, for example, have an Irish family system here and you have a Japanese family system over there, you have tremendous cultural issues in your family systems that need integration. That could also be religious. So let's say we have Catholic over here, right? And let's just imagine on the other side, Joan, who is Catholic, marries Paul, and let's say Paul is Jewish. It may not be an issue, but it could be a big family issue if that's not okay with his Jewish family side. So religion is a big issue. Cultural influences are a big issue that you want to be aware of. And then anything in the system that made it very difficult. Adoption can be a big issue. Let's just say Joan had a first child outside of the marriage that she couldn't take care of, and she gave up for adoption. That will have a big impact in the family system. So go through your list and see if any of that applies to your family system, and see if you can find a way to create a genogram that has most of that information present.